Dude, everybody had an opinion about Chris Pratt's voice as Mario whenever they first announced this movie. Well, that ain't my Mario. Chris Pratt doesn't even have a mustache. Hashtag not my Mario. I bet Chris Pratt isn't even a real Italian. I heard Chris Pratt doesn't even like peaches. Chris Pratt ain't even a real plumber. I'm Andrew May, this is Lonely Guy Loves Movies, and today we're taking a look at the Mario Brothers movie. This is a spoiler-free review. Alright, I'll get into the voice cast right away. So, Chris Pratt, he did a fantastic job as Mario. Each actor felt like they fit the role perfectly. I felt like Charlie Day as Luigi was fantastic and hilarious. Jack Black's performance as Bowser was a huge standout for me and ended up being one of my favorite characters, actually. Keegan-Michael Key of Key and Peele fame was unrecognizable as Toad. You know, sometimes you can kind of hear the actor's voice underneath the performance. In this case, you couldn't at all, and it was pretty incredible because he sounded like a small mushroom man. Dude, Anya Taylor-Joy was perfect as Peach. And dude, she was kind of hot in a few of the scenes. Peaches, 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 peaches. Don't worry, we're not objectifying an animated princess. She's just a very pretty soul. I'm allowed to think cartoon characters and animated people are hot. There's a lot worse things in this world. A lot worse. You don't have to have played any of the Mario games to appreciate this movie, but my family, we've played everything from New Super Mario Brothers to Mario Party to Mario 3D World, and we always have a blast, except for when the kids fight over who gets to be Rosalina and who gets to have the cat suit. My personal favorite Mario is Mario Galaxy. I felt like it was the most fun, creative, iterative, and refined version of Mario we've ever seen. Dude, some of those levels, though, where you're playing Mario Upside Down were equal parts frustrating and rewarding whenever you would figure it out. So I'm an 80s kid. I was born in 85, and I grew up playing the original Mario Brothers. It was super fun, very frustrating at times, and those hammerhead bros that would throw little hammers at you. Fucking annoying guys. There were so many special warps in that game where you could skip levels and just go straight to the end of the game, but even still, it was ridiculously hard. That and Contra were my games of choice in the 80s. Had to blow on that cartridge, stick it back in. Nobody's blowing cartridges these days. Kids are just licking them on TikTok. Also, jumping through those paintings in Mario 64 was very revolutionary at the time. It was one of my favorite games, and it was what I was playing while everybody else was playing their fancy PlayStations. That and Zelda Ocarina of Time. Ocarina. There were several characters notably missing from the roster who I thought were going to have cameos, but unless this movie bombs at the box office, I'm pretty sure there's going to be a sequel, and we will get some of those characters fleshed out in the sequel. I mean, it's a pretty deep roster, especially if you played games like Mario Party. I think it would feel overstuffed potentially in a film like this, so I understood the choice to not have every single Mario character ever. But they were missed nonetheless. Critics don't seem to be loving this film. If you check out Rotten Tomatoes, it's currently sitting at a 53% critic rating, but a 96% audience rating. So why are audiences enjoying it, but critics aren't? Maybe it's because critics are cunts. Aren't you a critic now? Shut up, Richard. So what's to account for audiences liking the film so much? If I had to describe this movie in one word, it would be fun. Sometimes that's all we're looking for when we go to the theater, is to have a fun time. We don't need the best plot line. We don't need the most amazing story. We just want to have a good time at the theater, and that is what this movie provides. It's nostalgia-driven, funny, charming, and it doesn't overstay its welcome. But the movie is not without its flaws. My main gripe is that there wasn't enough Luigi. I felt like Charlie Day's performance as Luigi was perfect casting, and I just wanted more of him. Another complaint I had, which is minor, was the music choice for this film. They licensed a bunch of 80s and 90s songs from Aha to Beastie Boys to Bonnie Tyler, and it just felt out of place in a Mario movie. I need a hero. It's like, yeah, you do need a hero. I don't think we need a song to tell us that we need a hero. Just come up with a fun score. We need a hero. I think the main reason that critics are giving it a lower score is because they say the plot is super thin, which is true. This movie does not have a very fleshed out plot. The plot of Mario games typically aren't very fleshed out. You normally have Bowser coming in, he steals Peach, and then you gotta go save her. There's oftentimes in the game, though, a lot of gameplay to fill in those gaps, so you don't need to be super heavy on story. So this was a missed opportunity in that they could have had a much better plot. But I don't think that's worth giving it a poor review. Mario games have always been about platforming first and story second. If you go back to the original game, it's all platforming and there's literally no story. That isn't an excuse to put out a mediocre product, but I would say this movie is anything but mediocre. Themes like follow your dreams no matter what are present, but they're never fully fleshed out. Not every film has to beat you over the head with themes, but it really would have added to this story. What this film lacks and keeps it from rising to the level of top shelf Pixar films like Up, Inside Out, and Toy Story 3 is that there are no emotional stakes. Puss in Boots in the Shrekverse was one of my most surprising films of last year and one of my favorites. It's because it had emotional stakes. Each of the characters going after their wish had their own story arc. That's part of what's missing in this film. But again, it doesn't matter all that much because it's a fun film anyways, and it's worth taking your whole family to. This movie is littered with Easter eggs, which are basically references to the games. My 10-year-old daughter, she kept looking over at me and we would have these moments, and it was super fun. The color palette in this movie is insane. It basically looks like a Candyland game come to life. Also, quick note, there is a mid-credit scene and a post-credit scene. The mid-credit scene is hilarious, one of the funniest parts of the entire movie, and the post-credit scene is worth sticking around for, or if you don't want to, you could just read about it online. Perhaps it's my love of the franchise, the nostalgia, and all the various iterations of Mario I've played over the years that could be clouding my judgment, but I really enjoyed this film. Uncharted is one of my favorite video game series of all time, and I did not like that movie very much. They didn't get the characters right. In this movie, they get the characters right, and that's what makes it so much fun. My family and I have defeated Bowser a number of times on the Nintendo Switch, and it was great to see all the characters fleshed out on the big screen. I totally would have gone to see this movie by myself, but it was way more enjoyable to bring my family along with me. I think you should take your family to this movie, and I think you will have a good time. I'm Andrew May, this is Lonely Guy Loves Movies, and if you love movies, you should check out my review of Ben Affleck's movie Air, which you can find right here, and I will catch you in the next one. It's like a close distinction between Mario and Mickey Mouse. Oh boy, let's go. Subtle.